12 years old, when I started to kind of veer towards the dark side, right? But we started, yeah, I got jumped in. Basically, it's called a put on. They put me on, jumped me in. And then yeah, it's very similar to the Hispanic gangs in my area.
Mhm.
We did have a lot of influence from them. We also dressed like them in certain ways, back then at least. And yeah, that's essentially how I got in. Mhm.
Wow, man. Wow. And was that the same gang you would stay with all your life, basically?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We never back in my time there was no flip flopping, there was no hood hopping. So
Yeah.
you could not, if you did that, that was either you get murdered or something would happen to you, But yeah.
Yeah, man. So are we allowed to say the name of the gang or no?
Yeah, absolutely. I was from Watching, specifically Oceanside Watching. Yeah, it's a subset, a clique, a side they would call it. Mhm.
Yeah, Watching, man. For those of you out there who don't know, like I've known about Watching since many years. I've never had run-ins with them, back in my day before when I was gangbanging, but I very well knew of them. To me, they were more of organized crime. There was somebody you didn't want to mess with, just like the Vietnamese, man. We always, thought of them as they have Uzis, they're very well armed, and stuff like that, man. So without glorifying the life, what take us through your life in watching if you can, as much as you can,
Sure,
without getting yourself in trouble, man.
sure.
Tell us about the lifestyle. What kind of life did you live, and did you ever get busted and all that junk? You know?
Absolutely. So I did get busted, but the type of lifestyle we had was very typical to most gang members who come from a broken home or come from, a place of depression and emptiness. So that emptiness caused me to kind of seek a family, which eventually was the Dubs, which was the Watching, that became my family. And they showed me a lot of love, honestly, and a lot of the OGs. We had real OGs. We didn't have people who
Mhm.
were just a couple years older than us. We had
Right.
older fools, and essentially they showed me the ropes. How to carry myself as a gang member, how to conduct myself as a gang member, the level of respect. A lot of my OGs did time, so they were very structured in that way, and they understood the politics. So prior to even hitting the streets, we understood what the prison politics were, and that's how we carried ourselves. So not to glorify the gang or anything like that, but that is essentially what I went through. And so we were taught to just go 100 every time, when we would go out. And if we had to bust missions, if we had to rob people, whatever, we had to always strategically plan it out and do these things. And essentially, that is what my gang consisted of. And I was a person who, like I said, trusted myself a lot and really wanted to do everything that I wanted to do. And eventually, that type of lifestyle leads into either death or prison, because it's basically all gas, no brakes is the best way to put it. So I eventually ended up catching my case and for dissuading a witness for the benefit of a gang, and essentially going to the California Youth Authority, what better known as YA, and I was there in SRCC, and then after that I went to transfer to Fred C. Nellis, so I was in Nellis YA.
Yeah, YA, man. So right there, Nellis, man, it's closed down now, man. But you must have
Yes.
been fighting a lot, huh?
Yeah, that's where I learned how to fight. And in every interview I do, and everyone who asks me, they know it. People around SoCal, they know about Nellis. It's in Whittier. It closed down in 2004, but prior to that, it was really, really gladiator school. There was all kinds of things happening there that I really am thankful that it was closed down, because it makes a lot of the juvenile wards, these children that go there, it turns them into monsters, honestly. And that's just the truth. Mhm.
Man, so you definitely outnumbered there ethnicity wise, man, big time,
Absolutely, big
So I'm sure
time.
you're fighting there a lot, man. And did all that if I know Mexicans, man. Usually at the time I was doing time, we like back in the day, I went through the system, I went through prison, I went through county jail. Most of the time I went through Orange County jail. We always got along with the Asians. We always got along. The Vietnamese, there was a big Vietnamese faction over here, in the Garden Grove and all that. But you know, even the mob, and we always got along, man. But I could see in YA, man, kind of like trying to bully. Mexicans sometimes we try to bully, man, did, and you could be raw, man. Did that make you kind of like hate Latinos in a sense? Like, did you
you
go through
know,
that, or did they vibe with you?
honestly, in my area, it was like everybody was against everybody. Back when I was growing up, late '90s, early 2000s, no hoods in the SUV would get along, and that included Asians,
Wow.
Mexicans. Like nobody was cool with anybody. Like that's what I remembered. So everybody wanted to smoke with everybody. That's just how it
Yeah.
was. It was a free for all essentially. So where I come from, yeah, it was there was a hatred developed, not just between Asians and themselves, because there was like the Chinese against the Vietnamese, there was like the Cambodians against the Chinese, there's all kinds of stuff. But with my gang particularly, we didn't have any allies, and everybody hated us. And there was actually other gangs would click up to go against us, and that's honestly the truth. But in terms of like other Latinos, yeah, if we would cross the like border to the next city, yeah, we would have issues with Mexicans too because we were deep, and they would know that we were gang banging. They knew that we would fly colors. They knew that, just by looking at us, they knew who we were essentially. And they also had issues with all the other gangs too. So even if they didn't know who we were, they thought that we were like either Asian boys or other good hoods that they did have issues with, and they would just get us anyway. So that's
Yeah.
really how it was. And yeah, I did develop that type of hatred, that discrimination, that and it wasn't until I got to prison that I actually started to kind of heal from those wounds and understand that there's actually some solid Hispanics and very very respectful people. You guys are actually very similar to my culture. You guys are all family oriented. You guys have like that bravado, that respect, and I really actually respected that. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a trip. The SGV is a whole little world, bro. It's a
Yeah.
whole little world of a different. You go to LA. A lot of places in LA are mostly Hispanic.
Right.
You go to SGV, it's like a mixture of a lot of people, bro. And
Yes.
I used to have friends, after I became a Christian, I used to have friends that were Asian, and they used to tell me stories how they used to go around and get in their car and just go beat up Mexicans. And I'm like, really? Like, I didn't know this stuff, bro. So I had to learn. I was like, really? So
Yeah,
TV is just a different animal, bro.
it
It's a
is, bro.
different animal.
Yeah.
Something I didn't know about. But um, so you went through YA, man. Did you graduate to prison, or did you not make it to
Yeah,
prison?
yes, I did. I did. I eventually, I got out 67 days, and so basically 2 months and a week, and I caught my second case. Most people who know people who go to YA, they become loose cannons. Like I said, it does make you a monster, and it does make you have to prove yourself. And at that time, right when I got out, I was actively banging. So yeah, I didn't learn my lesson, to be honest with you. And yeah, I caught a case for 2 counts of assault with deadly weapon. And yeah, they shipped me out basically. Did reception at Lancaster, and then ultimately went to Ironwood State Prison. And then when they did the prison reform at that time, and I ended up going also Mississippi for a little bit, and doing some CDC time out there. Hmm.
Tell us about your time going through the system, man. How was it? Did you have homies there already, or where you landed and stuff like that? First,
Yeah,
how was it going through the county jail, man?
county jail was honestly, county jail was worse than prison. Like 100%. I'm sorry to say, but it was overpacked. There was still a lot of this BS. You just meet, it's like a way station of just BS. So and then there's still kind of gang banging in there. So if you see like people that you hit them up, and then they have to fight and all kinds of stuff. But when I went to prison, also I didn't really know how to program my first like year or two there. It was very hard for me to program because I was a YA baby, and so I had to learn how to calm down and step on the brakes because now it's not about gangs anymore. It's about race. So I really had to learn that, and that was something that was very very difficult for me, to be honest. But yeah, luckily I had a lot of homies in there. My like I said, my gang was very deep. Back in the day, and they knew about us. Every yard you went to, there's always a couple homies there. So, yeah, definitely.
Wow, what a trip, man! And yeah, like I said again, like I did time. my time of doing time, was the late '80s to early '90s, and it was a trip, man. So when I was there, I had to go back to court. Going back to court, going through the county jail was a trip because there's different little games, little dumb things, bro. But then you get to the prison, and it's it's cool. Like it's more respectful. It's more it's more structured. Just going to. But now I don't know, but I hear the prison's a lot like the county jail. That a lot of those things have followed now. That's what I hear. I don't know. You guys doing time would know. But man, bro. So did you get in any muck and stuff inside the prison?
Of course, but